the Thought Leaders Studio. I'm Stein, and I want to start talking about collaborative partnerships. Creative ways that you can work together with other people and actually doing it a little bit differently than what a lot of people think of as partnerships in the past. If you think about today, the way things are changing, competition's almost gone. We need to find out how do we link into other organizations that we can complement services, products, goods, link with them to offer that to the marketplace. And what I see is if you want to actually start collaborating, there's a couple of things that are kind of twisted around from traditional wisdom. And I want to share some of those today. The first thing is the different types of partnerships that you could have. And when I look at partnerships, I look at marriage, right? And there's three levels that I want to take a look at. The first one is marriage. So a partnership, we have formal agreements, you sign agreements, and it's almost like a joint venture agreement. And that's a pretty formal partnership. Traditionally, that's the only one that people thought about, but there's two other partnerships that you can have. The next partnership is what I call going steady or dating, which essentially means there's a particular project that you might have in mind. You both have some skills that you can collaborate on. You can actually map that out and work together and say, we're going to date for the next 6 months, the next year, the next 24 months, and you don't have to be locked into a joint venture agreement. There are some things you could do to help that, but it's not the same as the traditional one. And the third type of kind of partnership is what I call the fling, right? And some flings last a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, right? And the definition of the relationship is slightly different. We're going to come together mutually to benefit each other for a certain amount of time. And then after that, we're going to kind of go our own direction. Now, there is another one that's kind of not really the fling, but it's the one-night stand, right? Which might be in the right place at the right time. Let's do something together real quick. That's the date. That's the objective. And then after that, we'll probably never work together again. The thing around partnerships is you need to be aware at which level do you want to play at. And please don't get stuck into the we have to get married, because I don't think you have to. A lot of the groups that I've worked with that are looking at how do we actually partner, my advice, even before you get married, is date first. Make sure you have a similar value set. Make sure that you know what they want to do and you know what you want to do, and you actually map out a little bit of a plan of how to do that. As thought leaders, it's really our goal to find creative ways to leverage our ideas to make a difference. Be it commercially, be it product, be it the way people think, be it the way people execute. And one of the strongest ways to do that is to leverage with others. So one other thing that you need to think about around the partnership question is how do we actually make sure we have a good strategy to make it work? Because I've seen a lot of partnerships disintegrate and get quite ugly. So what I look at, there's a couple of key things you can do. The first key thing is be very clear, why do we want to partner? What's it all about? What's the vision? What's the goal for both of us collectively? What's the goal for me? And what's the goal for you? Clarify that up front. The second piece is be very clear on expectations. Different people have different operating styles. Different people have different communication styles. Make sure that you're clear about those up front. Because if not, you can have some really sticky conversations down the road. And I think the third thing to do is map out what's the best way that we want to work together. Because some people say, well, we're going to split it 50-50. Very few partnerships that I'm aware of, and I've been in a number of them, work out 50-50. So some people might say, I'm going to start and do steps number 1, 3, 5, and 7. Why don't you do steps number 2, 4, 6, and 8? That's a very linear approach. Can work for some people. A lot of people it doesn't. Other people might be good at, I'm really good at starting it, but you might be really good at executing it. So it's also complementing those skills. The other thing, clarify the benefits up front. And what I mean by the benefits, if there's some financial gain, make sure in your planning up front, before you execute or do anything, you clarify who's going to get what. You clarify how are we going to recognize each other for our contributions before you do it. There's nothing worse than not clarifying that, going through it. Different people have different expectations around the commercial piece, and that's ruined a lot of relationships. So again, the next time you're thinking about how can I actually leverage my ideas, how can I do some things differently, consider the collaborative partnership. You don't have to get married. You can still just date. You can have the fling, or maybe even the one-night stand. Again, I'm Stein. Thanks for tuning in.